G'day. Welcome to Tooltime. This is an occasional thing where I want to be able to introduce you to new tools, techniques and products that I find interesting, that I enjoy, and I think you might like too.
Today I want to talk about rust removal. Rust is that cancer of steel that affects us all. Anybody who works with steel knows all about it. You can get it off with a wire brush, you can take it off with a brace of paper, you can use an angle grinder. But occasionally you're going to come across some material that is so badly rusted it's so awkward to remove that you're going to need some sort of a product to take it off in. And that usually requires immersion in something. These products fall into roughly three categories. On the one hand, you've got acids. Acid will remove rust. It will also take out the steel underneath it and cause pitting. The second product the second way of doing it is to convert the rust into some other product, into something else. And that's what rust converters do. They essentially convert iron oxide into iron phosphate, which is a lot more stable, which can be coated. So you can then add a coating to the thing and essentially rescue it in that way. I've just done a roof with this. The third category is called chelation. This is a different concept. It comes from the Greek word to cage, and it means that these products take each of these rust particles and remove them one by one and take them away. It's a little bit slower than acid, but it's a lot more effective, and it doesn't affect the steel underneath. It only affects rust. So this is Evapo Rust. It comes in three versions, you can see here. This one is a gel. It's ideal for upright surfaces or for things that you simply can't get into a bath, like machinery, for example. I've got a couple of examples I want to show you later. This is the Evapo Rust itself. This is the standard version of it. 1 litre or so. It's very handy stuff. The beauty of this stuff is it's not a use and throw away item. You can keep using this for months. What I tend to do is I put it into a container like this, and I can put my various objects in there, leave them when they're done, pull them out, clean them up, but I leave the Evapo Rust in there. It will last for months. Eventually, you will have to throw it away, but it can be months, and in my case, it might even be a year. Evapo Rust knows this, so what they've also created this little device, and this is extremely handy. This is something that every workshop should have at least one of. It's the same thing. It's Evapo Rust. All that this has, in addition, is a little basket to put your nuts and bolts and all those little bits and pieces that you need to be cleaned up. I've used it for router bits that have been sitting in a damp shed for a little bit too long, and other small items like that. And I keep one of these on hand. They're very, very handy. Right. So now we're going to look at our orders. Let's get some underway. Okay. I've managed to round up a few rusty items. Among them, we have these shears, which have seen better days. I've got a couple of plane blades, which have been exposed to the elements perhaps a little bit too long. And this is a spindle from my spindle moulder. Again, it's been subject to a rather damp shed in the past, and a hammer, which this is just purely cosmetic, of course, but it's just to demonstrate that you can put this in entirely. The Evapo Rust will not affect the wood of the handle, so it can go in straight away. And just for fun, I found a particularly rusty piece of old scrap that we'll see if we can clean up. So let's put it all into the solution. I have 3 litres of Evapo Rust here. We'll now put all these pieces in and leave them overnight. I've also got a few slightly rusty router bits, which could do with a bit of a clean-up. So we're going to throw those into the small container here and see how they go. Right, now we wait till tomorrow. This is a good example of where we can use the spray gel. So we're going to give this a bit of a spray and see what we get. We leave it again overnight and just see what happens. Okay, it's been a day, and we can see that the mixture has already turned a little bit black, which indicates there's something in it. So let's have a wee look and see what we've got, shall we? We'll take these out, and what you have to do is wash them, just to rinse the Evapo Rust off, such as it is. Then we'll give them a bit of a clean up. But straight away I can see that all of the rust on this thing has gone. There's a little bit of pitting which we can take out, I think, with some buffing later. Great. Here's one of those shears. This is part of the shears that I did earlier. Let's have a look. Beautiful, beautiful. There's not a speck of rust on that anywhere. Lovely. Again, they probably need to be a little bit cleaned up, but it's a good start. Another one. You can see that. That's really nice. Really nice. It does have a sort of slight black layer to it, but it comes off very easily. And it's a bit dull, of course. Okay. This is my spindle moulder, which had seen better days. So it was living in a very damp, unlined shed. It's been there for a few years, so that's probably why it's so different. But just as a comparison, I've got its twin here, and you can see the difference. I think this is taken off the nitride coating on the spindle, if that's what it was. But that's not an issue. We can easily replace it. But you can probably see here the difference. And this one looked very much like that before I put it in, which means that this one can go in there. Can have a turn. Very good. And here are my plane blades, which are looking 100% better, I have to say. I'll try and get that off later. Here's another one. I know I didn't get such a good look at them before, but these are so much better than they were. So much better. Obviously, they probably still need a little bit of buffing or something, but really that's nothing compared to what it was previously. And at least we may have saved them from being too pitted as well. And the hammer. As I said, the hammer I was only putting in there for cosmetic, it doesn't really matter that it's got a little bit of rust on it. But it has come up quite well. And as you can see, it hasn't affected the handle at all. It doesn't affect timber, it doesn't affect anything other than steel. It's quite targeted in that regard. But, good Lord, if I buff that up, I would be afraid to use it. Beautiful thing. A thing of beauty and a joy forever, as my granddad used to say. And one more thing, the very last on our list, and the worst one when we put it in, if you can remember what this used to look like, it's unrecognisable now. Beautiful job. This was just a bit of scrap steel that I picked up, which was particularly filthy, and I thought it might actually prove the point, and I think it's done an excellent job of that. Again, there's really nothing wrong with that. You could use that straight away, or you could even buff it if you wanted to. Lovely. Lovely. And there's one more thing. Of course, remember we put some bits and pieces in here. So let's have a look. Has it done its job? I'm sure it has. Again, a little bit of a sluice. Not be too much of that. Beautiful. The nice thing too, it's even shined up the carbide as well, although it doesn't affect carbide. It's not something I would use acid with to clean up something with carbide, but this stuff is perfectly safe for that. Overall, that's a result. This gel has set a bit on here, so I'm just going to use this little bit of steel wool to release it. That's better. I'm actually scratching the rust off with this. I am just taking off the gel where it is kind of set. It's important after you've done this to make sure you do dry them off, because they will flash rust now that you've exposed that new surface. So one thing I recommend doing is giving a coating of something, some either light oil or, in this case, I got some Lanacoat, which is basically lanolin. Again, it's a CRC product, but it works very well. It will protect something like this. It's which is going to have to sit here for quite a while before it gets used. That's a considerable improvement on what it was. Well, that's Evapo Rust. I hope this little segment has been interesting and as educational for you as it's been for me. And I look forward to seeing you next time round. Thanks.